Hi all. Today I will talk about a series called A Teacher. A young, beautiful teacher starts working at a school and falls in love with her 18-year-old student.
We don't have to do this if you don't want to.
A young literature teacher named Claire arrives at school. She meets other teachers and immediately becomes friends with Catherine. After her first day at work, Claire goes to the supermarket to buy food and steals one red lipstick. In the evening, she tells her husband about this. Nate asks why she did it. Claire says she goes to the store every day and decided to give herself a free gift. Nate doesn't judge his wife and just goes to bed. The couple has been wanting to have a child for a long time, but they are unable to do so. Claire thought that she and her husband were having problems in their family life, but Nate did not pay attention to this. In the morning, Claire comes to school and meets the students. Claire had her first lesson with older students. Several guys immediately noticed that the teacher was wearing a low-cut sweater. After school, a high school student named Eric walks into the principal's office to find out what he needs to do to get into college and get a scholarship there. The principal says that the guy has more time to fulfill his dream, but he needs to get 1,200 points in school tests. Eric is upset because this will be a difficult job for him. During training, Eric warms up with his best friends. Matt spots a woman in the parking lot, and Eric tells him that she is their new teacher.
And honestly, she could tell me to do whatever she wants.
After training, they come to Matt's house and discuss the girls. Eric recently broke up with Allison.
Yeah, of course they did. She's annoying as hell.
Matt says that he also found a girl he likes. This is a girl, Josh's sister. Claire's husband left for work all night. She gets bored and goes to a bar. Eric works at this bar. His friends force him to smoke and make them 2 milkshakes. They notice Claire at the bar, and Matt decides to go say hello. He's trying to be funny, but he looks really stupid. Matt calls his mom and tells him to come home. Josh also leaves without finishing his milkshake. Eric is left alone and feels embarrassed as he stands next to his teacher. He says his friends think milkshakes are free because he works here. Claire paid his bill. During the conversation, Claire notices that Eric is a smart guy and asks what he wants to do. He says he's planning on going to college, but he's having trouble with his school tests. Eric asks Claire to help him.
Maybe you could help me.
He wants her to become his tutor. Claire agrees. They discussed various topics a little more, and Eric realized that Claire was a very smart and modern woman who joked well. They left the cafe, and Eric asked for a ride home.
Well, I mean, if you're offering a ride...
Sure, okay.
Claire plays a cool song in the car.
You listen to this?
Yeah?
Eric realizes that he has a very cool teacher. Claire says that she has a brother who works in the police. The woman gives her student a ride home. They say goodbye to each other, and Claire goes home. At night, she sees a very interesting dream. Nate comes home. Claire asks him to kiss her, but Nate says he's too tired and wants to go to bed. Claire continued to persuade him, and he had to agree to help her. On the weekend, Eric comes to a party at Matt's house. He makes peace with his ex-girlfriend and goes with her to the second floor to a room for privacy, but they don't have time to do what they wanted. The police arrive. Eric tells Matt that now he won't be accepted into college. Eric tries to convince the officer not to file a report on him because it will ruin his whole life. But the officer says that Eric should have thought before doing a stupid thing. Eric notices a familiar name on the officer's badge. He understands that this is his teacher's brother.
Come on, don't make this difficult, all right?
No, Miss Wilson. She told me about you.
He asks to call her so that she can take him home. Eric lives with his mother, who works at night and will not be able to come. Claire arrives and asks her brother to forgive Eric for the first time. She gives him a ride home and says that he did a stupid thing. Eric apologizes and says he won't do that again. Claire asks not to call her by her last name when they are outside of school.
I mean, I have a first name. It's Claire.
The next weekend, Claire comes to Eric's house because he didn't answer the phone. She suggests canceling all plans and going for a walk. Eric sends his brothers to a neighbor's house and goes after his teacher. Claire takes him to the college Eric wants to go to get him motivated. Eric apologizes to Claire again for the incident. He says that now he has a lot of responsibility and sometimes he acts stupidly. He says Claire helps him a lot. Claire is glad that she is helping Eric.
I don't know, I feel like I can trust you.
Soon they meet Eric's friend who invites them to a party. Claire tells Eric that she has never been to such parties before, because when she was a student, she only thought about studying. She asks Eric not to miss this opportunity to be young.
We should probably go.
Claire returns home and meets her husband. Nate has bought new musical instruments and is planning to start a rock band. Claire is angry at him because he spent all their money without consulting her. In the evening, Eric finds Claire on Facebook and adds her as a friend, but Claire does not accept the request. The next day, Eric comes into class to talk to his teacher.
I liked being out in the world with you.
Eric comes up to Claire and kisses her.
What are you doing?
That night, Eric has a very cool dream, and when he wakes up, he realizes that he has fallen deeply in love with his teacher. Claire takes tests and finds out that in order to get pregnant, she must undergo the procedure of artificial insemination. Nate offers to do this as soon as possible, but Claire is not sure that she wants a child with him. At school, Eric apologizes to Claire for what he did. He begs her to continue her extracurricular literature classes. He promises that he will not make such a mistake again. Claire agrees to continue being his tutor. A little later, Claire notices Eric asking a girl to the prom. Claire feels jealous. On her day off, Claire comes to the cafe and waits for Eric. But Eric decided not to come to class. Friends find out that Eric recently came to college with some woman. He says that this is his friend whom he recently met. He says her name is Stephanie, to deflect suspicion. In the evening, Eric comes to the party with Allison. Matt came to the ball with his friend's sister and constantly suggested that everyone go to the hotel. The girl didn't like this and left. Claire asks Eric why he didn't come. He says that he cannot be near her because he is always thinking about her.
I have dreams about you.
Eric says that he doesn't want her to have problems because of him, and therefore it's better for them to stop communicating. He returns to the ball. Claire goes inside too and thinks about his words. She looks at him and invites him with her gaze to follow her. She leaves the school and goes to the car. Eric follows her. Claire drives to a secluded area and stops.
We don't have to do this if you don't want to.
Eric gets into the back seat and Claire sits next to him. Eric will remember this night for the rest of his life. At night, Eric returns home, and he is happy because he spent the night with a beautiful woman. Claire has no regrets either. In the morning, she receives a message from Eric. She reads it and immediately erases it. After the lesson, Claire invites Eric to meet again at the same place. After class, Eric comes to the appointed place and likes Claire's photo. She notices this and tells him that he can't do that because her husband might find out about it. Eric apologizes and they get down to business. In the evening, Claire comes home and she doesn't want to see her husband. Eric and Claire begin to spend time together almost every day. The guy fell in love with his teacher. Matt says that he really liked Mary, and he regrets that he acted like an idiot. He wanted to appear cool in front of her and lost her because of it. Eric realizes that he doesn't want to be Claire's toy. He wants more. In the evening, Eric's mom asks him to look after his brothers at home while she's on a date, but Claire sends beautiful photos to Eric and asks him to meet right now. He asks a neighbor to keep an eye on his brothers and goes on a date with Claire. Eric gets into the car, and Claire immediately gets down to business, but Eric stops her. He says that he does not want to be a toy in her hands. He confesses his feelings to her and says that he really likes her, and he wants to be sure that Claire will not forget about him tomorrow.
I like you too.
Eric is glad to hear such an answer. At night, Eric returns home, where his mother is waiting for him. A woman is angry with her son because he left his brothers unattended. One of the brothers got hurt, and at that moment, Eric realizes that he acted stupidly again when he left. Eric's birthday is coming. Claire rented a small house for them for the weekend. Eric films Claire to capture this moment forever. They are both happy to be together like a real family.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
But Claire asks to delete the video so that no one can see it. In the evening, Eric cooks a delicious dinner, which greatly surprises Claire. She tells him that her mother died as a child, and she lived with her father. Her father drank a lot of alcohol, and Claire hates him for it. In the morning, they wake up in the same bed for the first time, but Claire receives a phone call from her husband.
Annie.
Eric doesn't like the fact that Claire still hasn't left her husband. Claire was punished for this telephone conversation.
Take your underwear off.
During the day, Claire smokes for the first time, and later in the evening she tells Eric that he has a fun life in college in his future. She says that she envies him because his whole life is still ahead of him. She asks him not to miss the moment and have as much fun as possible. She says that when he no longer needs her, he will be able to find himself many beautiful girls. Eric doesn't like this conversation. He is offended by Claire and asks why she is telling him all this. Claire says that Eric himself will leave her soon because she is old. She doesn't believe that their relationship will last long, but Eric says that he doesn't need other girls. He wants to be with her. Eric confesses his love.
I love you.
I love you.
They end the day in their bed, and the next day they go back to the city. Eric's mom wishes her son a happy birthday. Meanwhile, Claire attends her husband's concert at a bar with her friend. Catherine realizes that Claire is cheating on her husband, but she does not condemn her friend. Catherine sees that Claire has been very happy lately. She asks what kind of man makes her so happy. Claire decides to tell the truth.
It's Eric.
Claire, that's like a monumental abuse of power.
Catherine is shocked and condemns her friend. She says that she must tell the director about this. Claire asks not to do this. She says that she and Eric are happy and he is already an adult. But Catherine leaves. Claire realizes that the next day will be the worst day of her life. She comes home and tells everything to her husband. If you want to see the second part, Then like the video, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell.